Hello YouTube, this is Mickey D back again with another episode of Stationeers, episode 13. This is a few minutes right after the last episode. I used the restroom, got some coffee, and we're going to pick up pretty much right where we left off. We've got to do some bug fixing on some of the systems, tweaking. Basically, the whole airlock setup's not really working. Airlocks are really designed to do pressurized to non-pressurized, not really that great for going in between systems, in between pressurized areas. So we're going to change those out to be regular doors. We've got to do some tweaking on how we're filtering some stuff. Should hopefully work out quite a bit better than what we're doing now. And then I think we'll get the base pressurized. See, we can pull down all the interior stuff, so we can work on that while the base is... We'll probably do a little bit of prep work before we repressurize, but a lot of the stuff we can do inside, and I probably don't actually need to pull that up. That system actually works fine, so we can leave that hooked up. We've got our intake, and that's why it wasn't working. We never turned the friggin' thing on. Yeah, that would make it work a lot better. Did we hook up the power to that? That doesn't look like it's shining. Look, we never even hooked the power up to it. Okay, so, I mean, that wasn't the whole issue with it anyway, but that explains why it didn't seem to be doing anything. We still need to change it, just for the... And we'll go ahead and hook the data into it, just in case we need it later on. And I think we're just going to turn that into a four-way. So, and we'll toss those down there. All right, so let's change that. Into that, and then now that filter will run. Very nice. Okay, so good thing we did actually open that up then. And get that sealed back up. All right, so what we're going to do is pull out the airlock doors, replace them with regular glass doors. I'm sure we'll find somewhere else to use these. We're not... throw those down there. So we're not going to need the gas sensor now. And we won't actually need the control either. And it's alright, we'll just have parts for other systems later on. Let's get this extra wiring. Actually, we're going to need wire to the doors, so we still want to run some of this. And is that a... That is a junction. Okay, that's running power out. Hey, how's it going? Hope you're enjoying the show. Alright, that should reconnect us there. And let's get this box pulled out. that pulled out. Do we have... No, alright, piece of glass. Yeah, see, we're getting temperature spikes. Is that from that vent? No. Yeah, I don't know. It's really weird. I'm doing pretty good. We've got a few bugs in the systems that we just put in. We got to straighten those out. But overall, you know, things are progressing. And getting some stuff done here. Okay. I guess we'll leave that. I kind of actually like to change this layout, maybe pull this down, but we're not gonna, I think, worry about that right now. It's not really gonna make that much of an impact on anything. Okay, and come on. Turn. Thank you. All right. So this is the oxygen. That's the CO2. I kind of would like to bring that down, but we're going to have to rewire all that if we do that. And what's that? Atmospherics, airlock. All right, so we need to make a couple of regular doors. And we'll get those made up. Oh, I always go one past it. What do we need? Iron and copper. We do got iron in there. I think we have iron and copper in here. Yeah, we do. Which I will probably need to go. We're going to definitely smelt some stuff up. Well, we've got copper, we've got iron. I think we've got enough, I think, resources, unless we use a ton of steel, because we're almost out of steel. Which I don't really see us, needing a ton of steel. But I'll definitely either, if we've got enough, then before the next episode, I'll probably do some smelting and stuff off camera. And oh shoot, I keep hitting that. Just pull my hand away from the mouse. I really got to get the fabricator set up. This is stuff I like the fabricator for. If I only need 2 doors, then I can just tell the fabricator I just need 2 doors, walk away, don't have to worry about it. You know, if I'm making a ton of pipes or something, I don't mind using like the pipe bender, you know, because I can just let it pump it out and it's good. So at some point we will actually have to get that set up. All right, so now we've got our 2 doors. So now obviously the base isn't pressurized right now, but we can just hit this one, pump in the O2 or depressurize it, and hit this one, it'll pull out the CO2. Basically, I mean, the thought is that when the base is pressurized, and we got an autosave. So when the base is pressurized, you know, say like right now the base is pressurized, we're basically going to walk in, close the door, and then we're just going to open this one up. We don't care if the O2 and the CO2 mix. The greenhouse room will automatically pull out, and we can go ahead and shut this off now. It's going to automatically pull out any extra O2 in this room and dump it back into the system. When we leave the room, you know, we can come out here, we can close it, we'll run this one, which will suck everything out of this room. It'll dump the O2 back into the base. Any CO2, it'll dump back into the greenhouse. Once it's depressurized, we can run this one. It'll fill it back with O2 to pressurize it, and as long as we get close, pressurize it to match, the atmosphere from the base, and then we can come out and we're not. So basically, it's just to keep from contaminating the base with all the CO2 from the greenhouse. So that should work. I'm pretty much all set there. So the other tweaks we need to make for the system is, for one, I think we need some extra radiators on the cooling line. Obviously, it's not really cooling that great. I don't know. I've never really had... welcome back, Unexpected. Thank you. I haven't had a lot of luck since they kind of did the radiator calculations. I don't know. I think they kind of nerfed them a little too much. Supposedly they were working a lot better than they should have been. Now it seems like, I don't know, unless you're supposed to throw like a ton of them on the system, it just seems like they're not that great at working now. I'm really hoping, I'm assuming that we're going to see some more or alternate forms of cooling. We do have the atmospheric one to cool with. I think they were talking about pulling it out and getting rid of it, just because. And let me check and see if we still have a 0.1 at our temperature. So the base is actually quite warm right now. And you were correct, Unexpected. The base itself is actually warm. It's just we have no atmosphere to bring that. It's not transferring it to our character. So we're definitely going to have to run the cooling system once we... and that's probably because I was running the smelter yesterday. And that was my thought of, which now that we have some airlock doors, we'll probably go ahead and do it, is I'm wanting to make this in a vacuum. I mean, I do have some cooling in here. Maybe I need to throw a ton more radiators on there, but it wasn't making enough of a difference. Yes. The plan is that later on, and that's part of what we'll be progressing into pretty soon, is once all the basic systems are in, then I've got a little bit of automation going. Unfortunately, these are kind of broke right now. They seem to have broke something in the update. I did see other references to it in the forums, not with the computer, but with the logic chips. The mixer valves are not the mixer valves are not they were trying to use logic chips, but basically the mixer valves they're not being controlled like they should be. And in this case, we're using computers. It's doing the exact same thing. They're not being controlled. So they seem to have broke those. The consensus is that a mixer valve also should not be acting as a pump. We should be able to put, like this regulator here. This mixer valve should just equalize to what's on, whatever the highest one is or whatever the lowest one is. Basically, yeah, it would have to equalize to whatever the lowest one is, because it only lets through at the set ratio. Okay, I think I've got 5 or 6 on the back for the furnace return line. Um, it, yes, you can use the pollution to do it. It doesn't actually have to be the pollution. These, like right here, so this pulls in from the base and cools and blows back out. And that will pressurize with what it's pulling in from the base. So you don't actually have to have a separate, you know, um, something separate in there to cool with. Um, yeah, especially with the base one, because we need the, it needs to basically be cooling off the base air. Definitely, I can throw some more on the other one. They don't blow out. Well, no, it pulls in from, I believe it pulls in from that one. And then it'll blow out from, I believe, the vent. Or is it vice versa? Is it suck in from there and blow out from there? Either way, this is, when the base is pressurized, it acts as a pass-through system. That's why they won't work when there's no pressure. Because basically the pipe isn't pressurized, because where it's got a passive vent on it. They only affect the temperature. I don't really get what you're trying to say there. And while we're talking about them, does anybody know what the slots on these do? I mean, there's quite a few devices that have slots that don't really seem to do anything. Like ActiveVent's got a slot on it. They don't move gas. Well, they'd have to move gas. I mean, you've got a vent hooked up to it on one side. I mean, you've got to be able to have. I mean, otherwise you wouldn't need a vent hooked up to it. I mean, am I understanding how those work incorrectly? I mean, my thought is that if you have I mean, obviously, like right now, it's not going to do anything because the base isn't pressurized. There's no atmosphere. But in times when the base is pressurized, it's going to pull in the base air, and basically it'll cool it. The radiator cools it, and then it's going to output that cooled air. Which is, yes, it's outputting cold. It's not really outputting air. It's just using what's pulling through the vent to. And the cooling vent needs to be a closed system. Well, then that means I'd be using them wrong. Alright, well, I'll have to obviously look into that more before we mess with that system, because I don't want to try screwing with it and then just not doing it right. So if we did a closed loop, though, are we just terminating the pipe nowhere? That's what I'm not getting, because if it's a closed loop, then basically we would just have a loop of pipe that's going to tie back into itself with like a T on it or something that's going to have the AC on it. I mean, my thought is I thought you were supposed to pull air in from one section. This runs through the wall out to the radiator and then basically comes back in. but I'll definitely have to look into that. I mean, we have some other systems we can take care of first. And we went to, oh, what do we have? Okay, so we can try setting up something like that then. It's going to make it kind of interesting to pressurize it. We'd have to hook some system into it that we can remove the pipe and then, I mean, because obviously the stuff doesn't leak out right now. Okay, well, we're going to go throw some more loops on the other one. Or throw some more, we'll go throw some, well, the base is depressurized. I could have just pumped a hole through the wall. Oh, and the jetpack's dead. That's right, I forgot I went dead earlier, right before we, I think, finished the last stream. I thought I had changed that. Nope. Okay. Yeah, anyway, we can actually just go right through this. And then, which we will obviously still then have to adjust this system. But since we've already made them, we might as well just throw them on there real quick. And if we do need more, then, come on, come on. Then what we can do is we'll just extend this line down. We can do like 3 and 3. Yeah, it's dumping all the pollutants into this tank right now. So we can tie into that line if we need to. We can just run basically a waste line. We can actually just run all the coolers through the waste line through the base, and just have it enclosed with that. Maybe. Or we just cool all the waste gas and just let it circulate through. That's an option as well. Which is something we'll probably be working on soon. Like I said, I'll probably do a little bit of research on it first and make sure I'm doing it correctly. Obviously, not quite, working the way I thought that they worked. Let me see. So carbon dioxide, we got 301. And we got an autosave. Okay. So as for the base filtration, I think I do want to come up with, use the thought that or use the system that I thought of earlier, which is just put a separate filter and filtration with just oxygen, nitrogen filter on it. Let that return back to the base, and then that way it'll just slowly slowly pull, and I think we actually have one atmospherics if I remember correctly. It'll slowly pull any contaminants. I don't know. As far as I know, they're still working on it. Um, and I think it's an ongoing thing. I think there's a few systems that are still not working correctly. Um, so they're basically a survival only thing right now. Yeah, they are definitely working on bug fixing. And I believe I saw a post. They're working on basically mod support right now. Um, so that they can actually get. I think if we get mod support, that'll be a really good thing for the game. It's the type of game like, you see mod support did for Space Engineers. I think it could be similar for this. Um, and I'm assuming that, anything that's really popular that they would, basically see about making, if somebody comes out with a really cool piece of equipment or something that's really useful, they maybe they'll integrate that into the main game. Um, but yeah, the bug fixing, mod support, and then they did say that they want to kind of get all the current systems in the game working correctly before they add anything else. Um, yeah, I imagine that they probably will. Um, all right, where do we want to put this? So we want it to tie back into. We want to tie back into this line. Um, I don't really want to put it right here because I still want to move the battery charger over there and put a power monitor over here. And let me see, where do we have? So this is a return line. So we could move this. We could potentially just put it right here because really we need to tie into the return line is the only thing we really care about. So let's go ahead and pull this up. Which honestly, I guess I would just drag this outside because I have no use for this. And just kind of one of those things that's been floating around the base. Oh yeah, yeah. I think yeah, people making mods would definitely really, be a boon to the game. A lot of games, especially these types where you can add quite a bit of stuff to it. It definitely, I think, let me see, which way do we want to run this? See, this is our waste, which is going to return back. Let's see, we'll set it. We'll set it. Let's try right there for now. Filtration output. Okay. Filtration waste. And then our input. So for our input, we're just going to want a passive vent. For our output, or I should say for our waste, oh, wrong one. We're going to want to tie in like right there. And then we're going to need one passive vent which we don't have. Oh, actually, oh no, we just pulled down an active vent. Oh, yeah, I'm hoping though. I imagine it'll probably be like Lua or something. Passive vent, passive vent. Everything is in a different machine. Okay, we'll have the passive vent. Alright, so I want to not have this obviously right next to the input, because you know, then we basically got output input in the same area. I'd like to actually put it farther than that, but I don't really want to run a ton of pipe. Honestly, what I'd like to do is have the filter on, have the intake on one side, the output on the other. That way we know we're not just refiltering the same air over and over again. So, you know, have like the vent come from, well, I guess we could actually do that. We could just pump one through the wall real quick. Yeah, we might just do that. And what we'll do, oh, you know what? We're going to have to weld one of those back on real quick. All right. Yeah, now why is it that passive vents come off with a wrench and active vents come off with a with the screwdriver or cordless drill? Okay, so we can do waste is going into there. Our return air is going to come out right there, and then our intake air is going to be on this side. And then that way we're not pulling in from the same room. We know it's going to be not refiltering the same air over and over again. And we need more pipes. Oh. All right, we'll let it build a few of those. Okay, so filtration output. All right. Oh. Luckily they don't take that long to make. And we're going to need to pull that down. Okay, now we can pass through a line there. All right, this will be our waste line, which ties back into our main filtration system. I wonder how many pipes we have over there now. Come on, come on, come on. Okay. So we're tied into there. Come on. It's probably good for now. Clean these all up. All right. And then this one, which makes me kind of wish that we had. No, that'll work. Let's say we're right on the edge of this. And there we go. Okay. That straight. That'll work. Oh, actually it is over one, isn't it? I thought we were lined up there for a second. That's all right. We can put a little corner in here. What is that hitting? Is there a piece of wire down there? Yes. All right. Of course there is. All right, let's do that. Yeah, we gotta go ahead and go over there anyway. And let me see if we still have, yep, we still have a piece of pipe in there. Really? Why is it not letting me? Huh. Have I never just run a pipe down right on the very corner before? Yeah, completely buries the pipe. Let's see how much other stuff we can get in here. All right. And yep. All right, there we go. All right, let's go drop these pipes off. And autosave. Right, so put those off. Yeah, there shouldn't be anything we need out of there right now. And why do we have an iron pipe or a steel sheet left over? That's like the second time I've done this that I've had a steel sheet left over. Did I pull one out of the floor? No, there's one underneath it. Oh, that one right there. Yep. Okay. There we go. All right. No steel sheets left over. Power, which we can tie right in off of here. And that's the wrong tool. And this one we can probably hook up the data later on, especially since it's easily accessible. And we can set it, we can see about setting it so that it only runs if it detects there's actual pollution. Just to kind of not be running it needlessly. And there we go. So we need an oxygen filter and a nitrogen filter. So we've got an oxygen. Okay. So now that will just filter out. Let's make sure we did this right. Filtration output, yes. Filtration input, yes. And then filtration waste, which ties back into our regular filtration system. I'm not sure. I noticed since the last update that I'm getting kind of some lag spikes here and there that I didn't notice getting before. Which is kind of strange because I know they did they were doing some stuff for DirectX 9 support. I don't know if they've done something. I did see somebody supposedly had a report that that the game was running it basically overtaxing GPUs for some reason, and I didn't really read that far into it. So okay, so this should, which we'll just leave it running all the time. This should filter out the base. That should purify any of the air in the base. We should be good there. We'll have to see if that system is, I don't know if that's a big enough setup. We might have to, maybe on the intake, we'll run a few intakes and see if that makes, you know, if it needs more of an intake. Or maybe we might just get enough airflow to eventually, you know, pull everything through. What else? I guess we can go ahead and try pressurizing the base. It's probably going to get warm. We can try running the coolers for now. And see if we do need to rechange, you know, or redo those systems. And I'm going to save here because there was, I'll save under a new one. There was a bug that supposedly they have fixed where if you flood filled the base, you would lose a whole bunch of yeah, I don't have this configured, of the oops, wrong one, of the O2. It would just like randomly disappear. So supposedly they have fixed that. Yeah, we went pressure mode. Is there, that should be that one. Anything that's already controlled by something, it shouldn't let us check. Yeah, I don't think so either. I think it'll... Oh, you can actually filter? Oh, that's nice. Does it have to be match exactly? Oh, there we go. Okay. So... we should... let me see here. Okay, greenhouse vent. That's the one for the airlock, though, I believe. All right, we gotta go through and name a couple of these first, because there's a few of them we're not gonna want ran by that. Namely, we don't want we don't want it running the one for the greenhouse. It shouldn't try running the one for the airlock because that's already vent. Confirm that. Those are all passive. That's fine. Okay, we want to name that greenhouse airlock O2 vent. I think I'll ever remember what that means. And then that's the greenhouse airlock CO2 vent. Okay. And look at that. And I swear, I feel like since the last update, I feel like I'm on skates. It still seems like the character's kind of sliding around when you move, which is making me run into stuff constantly. So, base. Sir, confirm. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and name, I don't think this really matters, but since this stuff should still be airlock. Airlock. Vent. And that one. Okay, so I mean those are being controlled by this. So if I remember correctly, this should not even be able to try to control them. And I want to see, turn it off, turn it on. All right, so if we set yeah, see, it would actually greenhouse. Well, greenhouse, yes, I can try to control those because there's no controller over there now. CO2 vent. I want to see if it's... yeah, it doesn't look like it's showing the ones up from the airlock. All right, so we'll start at the top here. So outward vent, outward vent, outward vent. Interesting that it immediately kicked them on before I even got out of the vent, active vent. That really brings up the noise in the base too. Holy cow. Okay, active vent, active vent, active vent. Oh, I missed one. Okay, and then the inwards we definitely don't want it to run. And I think that should be all of them. Nope, missed one. Active vent outward. Okay. Now let's see, hopefully... Okay, we don't seem to randomly having tons of oxygen disappearing, so it looks like that is fixed. We're actually not that warm. Still takes a while for everything to run. And let's see if this... Oh yeah, this game definitely has a lot of potential. You know, hopefully they kind of stick with their, you know, the plan. Wow. All right, I gotta turn that down. Holy cow. Using that console, it'll automatically pressurize to 100. So this is set to basically when you run this air console, it's set to basically get the base to 100 kPa. And then once it gets to 100 kPa, it should shut these vents off. Which makes me think we don't actually have... It's going to take it... and I really hope they get the gases. I mean, obviously, it's not really flowing like gas really would. I mean, it hasn't even really got down to here. I should actually run a line down at some point to have a separate one down here. Because obviously it's taking its sweet time getting down there. But we should definitely get the base should definitely get up to 100. Yeah, so this is, see, it's saying it's in the green. Now, which is good. And we should hopefully not have any type of contaminants in the atmosphere right now, especially as long as we don't turn on the jetpack or... So we should still have a bit of a reserve by the time it pumps everything, by the time the base equalizes. Oh yeah, yep. Yeah, I did, and there's an autosave. Yeah, which is the other reason I, you know, I put this door on here. So that we can separate it from the base, and I can vent this out. Yeah, I'd actually see it shut these off because it sees that the base got to 100. I think it's still gonna... Yep, see those kick back on. Oh no, 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 we don't want you to do that. Okay, I do not like that. That's not good. So it looks like, which I never realized on this thing, so it's going to maintain 100. If we go over, it's turning those into inputs, and it's pulling air back into the system, which we don't want it to do, because then if there's any contaminants, it's going to drop it into our O2 tank and contaminate our whole oxygen supply. And the rest of that doesn't even work right now. It'll give you warnings for temperatures and stuff, but it can't control anything. It only does pressure. So all the more reason to rip that thing out and not use it. Yeah, and the only way now I have to go through and pull up every vent and put it back down so that it doesn't have control of them anymore. I do believe, actually I might. Can I? Yes, I can. All right. So, well, anyway, we got we have the whole base pressurized. We haven't done any welding. We haven't turned on the jetpack, so there's no contaminants. So, not. Yes, I know you're telling me you don't have a sensor. So we don't have to worry about that. And is that everything? Okay, so it should not have control of any of these anymore. Let's go double check. Yes, okay. So all of our inwards should still be set to inward, all of our outwards. So it is nice that it will fill the base, but we definitely don't want it using those as returns. Which we're a little higher over here. And so we're a little bit over 100, but not too bad. Yeah, and our temperature is actually fine. So, I mean, either assuming that the gas was cold enough that it equalized it, or just because the volume of atmosphere. Yeah, see, this hasn't completely pressurized yet either. So, we'll have to probably bump the base up a little bit after it runs for a while. All right, so that is good. And this filtration system is running over here. So this should keep the atmosphere in the base pure. We'll have to keep an eye on it and make sure that it, you know, it can keep up with however much plumes we're putting in the base. All right, so that's good. So we have a pressurized base, we have filtered base. Let's go check the greenhouse and see if the temperature's still way up in there. And then we're already pressurized, that's fine, we don't care. Which is obviously a lot lower than what it was in here. Yeah, we'll put that back on. Okay, so if we set this to pump the CO2 out into here, which we're 26, that's not bad. We actually need it warmer. So we're going to need to let that warm up for a while so we can plant the plants. We just leave that on. It's going to try to put out CO2. Eventually we'll get that set up so that it won't try to overpressurize the base, which I don't think we'd ever, you know, as it sits right now, we're not going to have that much CO2. You know, but, and you know what? I just realized we never put lights in here. So we gotta get some lights in here. Yeah, it's gonna take a while to warm that up. And I want to see. So now that we added the extra coolers in here, is this gonna make a difference? Which right now it looks like it's heating up. I don't know. We'll have to bring the oxygen or the atmospheric tablet over to find out. And so now if we close this, so we have a whole bunch of, we should be able to run this. Why is that locked? That should not be locked. I didn't have the, oh, was that the one? Oh, this was the one that was controlled by the other airlock panel, and I didn't release it before I swapped it. Okay, so we want that set inward. We're going to turn that on. We'll depressurize in here. It'll pump any of the CO2 back out into there. And anything else is going back out into the base. And we'll have to relabel that again. Which we don't have to get 100% of it, but close enough. There's probably still some residue, but that's fine. And then we can fill it from the base oxygen. And we'll get it relatively close. Yeah, one of these days I gotta get grading and floor and stuff done. Well, grading we can probably actually go ahead and put in here. We shouldn't have any more wiring or anything to run down. Yeah, those vents will blow you around too. So that's pretty good. I'm assuming that's just equalizing. We shouldn't have anywhere we can leak from. Yep, it's just equalized. There we go. All right. So yeah, we'll have to, so I think we're going to run through here and kind of revamp how the oxygen returns, and yeah, we're out of carbon dioxide. I think we're going to have to work a little bit on how the returns work and how the air supply works, because yeah, we are going to want to run a mixture. And like I said, I don't think we're going to get to, we're going to be low on the nitrogen side from what it would really be, but because we just don't have enough nitrogen, I think. We might be all right. We used, what, 6, 7 MPa to fill the whole entire base. We've got 5. Yeah, so we might, because if we did 5 and say like 5 MPa and nitrogen and then 2, yeah, that would get us pretty close. Yeah, we might be able to actually get a pretty close ratio. And I think that'll be the next episode, is we'll go through, revamp the how we're basically, well, for one, we can't turn on all the oxygen inputs because we overload the filter, and then pipes end up exploding. So I'll have to address that, which I think we're just going to address by just having one intake, because I can't really think of any other way to compensate for it right now, except by either having multiple filters that can pull in the oxygen, or by setting analyzers up and having each vent input, like, basically check if the section of pipe before it is overfilling. Because that was the problem, is with so many vents pulling in, they were basically filling up the line, and then since this is the first pipe to it, it was making those blow. Because they couldn't actually put anything past that pipe, basically. And one of these are set wrong. Oh, okay, this is the one that was the return. Never mind. I forgot we pulled that out to tie it into there. And let's see. I kind of actually want to purposely... Well, we've got some CO2, so we can see how long it takes it for it to pull out that CO2. And we've got some nitrogen. And I did turn this. Okay, yep. I was going to say, make sure I turned it on. And why does that pipe still... You're telling me that you're not filtering anything. You're telling me you're not pulling anything in, and you're telling me you're matching with the atmosphere in the base and that pipe. Okay. What is going on here? Filtration output. Okay, what should be fine? Filtration input. Do we have a break in the line somewhere? I didn't think so. Yeah, why are you not reading anything? It's reading as it's not inputting. Huh. That's weird. It should at least show the base atmosphere in it. I mean, if anything, it should just show whatever's in the base. And that should show the nitrogen in the carbon. Yeah, it's right off of this one, so... yeah, it's still got power, and it's still lighting up. And obviously we've got enough air in it to... Now, I could see this line reading empty because it's going to suck everything out to... Oh, yeah. Yeah, I put the filter. It's got an oxygen and it's got a nitrogen filter in it. Yeah, oxygen filter, and there should be a nitrogen filter. And it should be returning that. Yeah, filtration output, so it should be returning that back to the base. And I think if we, autosave. That is a question. That's a good question. We should have enough power coming to it. Oh, required 2.6, potential 5. No, we should be filtration on powered. Filtration on powered. Filtration on powered. Filtration on powered. Yeah, they're all. Yeah, they're all on and powered. Yeah, we haven't had any power problems with not providing enough power to anything yet. So I'm in pretty good there. I'm gonna say there's probably. I've probably got a screw up in this line. go around from the other side. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's a that I've got the pipe off somewhere. And wow, I'm really getting some airflow over here now. Holy cow. Yeah, it's definitely trying to equalize down the stairs a lot better now. Oh, maybe that's the problem. Is it's basically pulling all the air down into here for now because it hasn't pressurized yet. I'm wondering if it's counting that there's not enough air right there to pull in from the vent. Well, let's try something. We are going to punch a hole in the floor. Not there. Yeah, right there. Okay. And hopefully this should now pressurize. It's still not really pressurizing. Okay. What, that rock? Steel 69s. Well, it is. Well, no, it's not really equalized yet either. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna. Well, it's all sealed. I mean, that's down through underneath. Oh, that was iron too. There we go. As I weld in my 100% oxygen environment. Alright. That's gotten a little bit closer, but I'll turn the vents on a little bit. I didn't necessarily want to fall down here. Okay, we'll let that pressurize some more. I want to still double check this pipe. Make sure we didn't get anything off. Whoa, holy cow. I guess there's air flowing down through there. I'm wondering if that's just what it is it's counting that there's not really any air there. Oh, hang on a second. Okay. Sorry about that. I had to cough there. That pipe looks fine to me. I don't see anywhere that would cause issues. Oh. I would swear that that's pulling in, because that's definitely pulling air somewhere. Let's see if we close that. And that's all sealed. Okay. Not 206. I do. That's 207. Alright, that's weird. So that's not actually outputting from that vent, because that is higher than what the base pressure is. Almost double. So that pipe network, okay, that is pulling through. So it must have been a... Oh, yeah, I could. I'd have to set up a base and fill it up. But my thought is actually I'll just run a line, and I meant to do it before, is just run a line down there to for an oxygen supply. And but what I can do now is actually I can just seal off, which I did. I closed the door, so what I can do is just it'll just be sealed off, so it's not going to try to pressurize it any more than it already is. Yeah, because it's closer down here, but we can just leave that for now. Yeah, that's at 25, so it is pulling through. I think it's just you know what, and we could actually, since it's reading low over here, I'll just turn it on and pump some air out over here. But yeah, probably what I'll do is I'll pull a line off down, run it through, and we can oh, now where'd the other steel sheet go? Oh, it's on the other side probably, isn't it? Yeah. Alright, so, and we're still short some sheets. We should have 4. Did I leave some down below? Probably. Not really worried about it. We can just go grab a couple. So we're back up to 101 up here. And we'll go ahead and seal that up. Seal that up. The thing I'm interested in is why is this vent reading at twice the pressure? I mean, that's reading at 217. And nitrogen, carbon dioxide, which that shouldn't be. Okay, let's try this. try that. We're going to pull them up, replace them, and see if that makes any difference. I don't know if it will or not, but sometimes you get weird connections slash. I mean, definitely, I know the tanks have definitely had problems with those. All right, let's see what that reads now. Oh, see, that does not make sense. Let me turn that off. Turn that off. Yeah, there's something. I mean, this is our filtered side, so we should only be getting oxygen and nitrogen out of here. We shouldn't be seeing anything else in these pipes. And really, it should be the same pressure at the base as the base. And what are we getting on? Yeah, and our filtration pipe is showing nothing, which honestly it should show nothing because it's the regulator down here. Well, these filters are going to pull anything that gets returned into that line out, or gets put into that line out. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to. Let's figure out what's going on with this, though. This doesn't seem to be working as it should, which is strange because we've never had any problems with any of the other ones. I mean, obviously, anything else we've been running through the system for the last 30 episodes is filtered out fine. Oh, wait. I wonder if that bug is back. There used to be a bug that if you had the two filters in, it was not filtering correctly. Let's take that. See if that makes a difference. As far as I know, they had fixed that bug. Okay, that's fine. No, we're still not getting any return. And we're still high on this side. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. There's something oddballs going on with that. Yeah, that's, I got an autosave going on. Yeah, we'll try that. We'll pull the whole thing up real quick and see if we pop it back down, if that makes a difference. And I'm wondering real quick while it's. So now, see, this is equalized to the pressure in the base, which as it should be. So is this one. This one is not because it's not, no vent on it. But yeah, that's to the base. That's to the base. That's correct. So if we do the filter, should be good. Where did the filter go? Oh, there it is. Okay. So if we filter oxygen, Yeah, I mean, it could be that the AC's outputting faster than, or the vent is. Yeah, I do plan on it. I started to. So oxygen, nitrogen. That's the fuel mix, which I was going to make orange. Um, water, I was going to make blue. Um, but it's one of those things that I was going to go back through and do. Um, just like I want to go through and put all the steel walls up. And then maybe we can paint different colors, different areas, different colors, whatnot. Um, but that's probably be near one of the last things. So this is running. Okay, so we've got okay, so this is outputting now. Question is why are we getting CO2 and pollutants in it? Because that should be filtered out. I mean, there's our filtration output, so the only thing we should see coming out of this pipe is oxygen. And we're going to turn that one off because so this is pulling in 82, 83, yeah, that's fine. And honestly, oh, you know what we can do too? So if we close this door, the pressure should start dropping in here. If this is actually pulling, I mean, now the pressure is dropping there. Oh, okay, so yep, there's the base. There's the room pressure starting to drop, I think. We're still not 100% equalized between all these areas. But I think we're 91, 90, 98, 87. So yeah, it is pulling in. And yes, devs, I really wish I could read my tablet when I look up. So it is pulling in. We are getting, it is filtering. I think it might be one of those things I need to do a restart for and see if it just suddenly starts working or if it starts reading correctly. Looks like the main thing is that we should only be seeing O2 right now in this tank, in this line. We should not be seeing any CO2 in any pollution. And it's definitely outputting because it's trying to blow me, you know. I really wish they would make the vents not quite as powerful. Basically, when you cross this stream, you can see I'm only moving side to side, and it's pushing me farther and farther back. So it is running. It just doesn't seem like it's reading correctly on that pipe for what's being actually output. All right, so it is running, and that might be one of the things. I mean, it won't be the first bug I've run into where I need to leave the session and come back in to have something just magically suddenly start to work right. I've had a couple of those types of bugs so far. And where did I put... Oh, the data disk is still in there. Okay, we'll take that out. All right, so it looks like it's working. I'll just have to wait and see if a restart makes it start reading correctly on that pipe. And what I might let it do is just run for a little while and also see if the pollution drops in here. but I don't know, you know, we've only got one vent, so it might take it a while. But as long as I can keep it to a manageable level, then we're about the same levels all through the base, I think. 0.9, 0.09 there, 0.1. So we're actually higher over here, which makes sense because that's where the airlock is. And it takes stuff forever to transfer around. Okay. All right. So I guess we'll just let it do its thing for now and check on it. I mean, it's hooked up the way it should be. We verified that, placed it down, replaced it down. You know, I still think we should see a little bit of pressure in there, but it could be the filters are just grabbing it so fast it's not really reading anything. You know, we are reading higher pressure in here, which would make me think that it is outputting. Because we're at 132 right here. You know, we're at 8079 over 6 over here. So it's definitely pulling air from here and putting it in the other side. We're going to have to keep an eye on that because obviously the airflow is not equalizing near as fast as it really should be. And if we get too much higher over on this side, we could have some stuff start blowing out, which would definitely not be a good thing. Yeah. All right. And then let's go see what our temperature is in here. I'd like to get the plants working. Yes, I know. Oh, we are at 40C. Yes, yes, yes. I'll put on my helmet. Okay. So we actually want to turn the heater off. We're actually in the ideal range now for the plants. Pressure should drop as we're actually a little high on this side for some oddball reason. Probably just because all the filtration's on that side, so it's pulling the air towards that side, I guess. And so I think it's 30 to 50, so we should actually be able to plant some stuff. We'll throw them over towards this side. Oh, it's a nice little happy plant. There's no bad statuses on it. Alright, so we'll let the ferns grow. And I don't know if we should just go ahead and plant everything. I guess we can plant corn and whatnot. Maybe we'll start on this side. There's probably not really much of a point to grow the food right now since we can't really do too much really with it. What do we got? Wheat. Or, you know, if I was planning ahead, I should probably keep a couple of seeds extra in case something catastrophic happens and we need to replant. But okay. Well, there's no sunlight. Well, it's because the sun went down. I think you'll be fine on that as soon as the sun comes back up. I imagine you should be able to last a night without sunlight. If not, there's obviously some balancing issues that need to be done. And let's drag. Sort of drag that over there. There we go. All right. So that should be good. And then we'll set up an automatic control to maintain the temperature in here. And we should be at, the filter's running, so it's pulling any oxygen out. So we're only at 20 kPa, but it's 20 kPa of CO2. So hopefully the plants should be happy. They're obviously not complaining about not enough pressure, which I don't know if they can actually complain about or not, but it doesn't seem to, only being 20 kPa doesn't seem to be bothering them. And if we run this, we should be able to pull all the CO2 back out of here, pump it back into that room. I should probably maybe set up some type of monitor so we can read what the temperature is and the pressure is in the greenhouse without having to go in there. Obviously, every time we open up the door, well, yeah, we could depressurize this before we go in there. That is always a possibility. Or we could just reverse this and just bring air in from there. So we do have the options to run this the other way if we want to. So we can definitely you know, if we didn't want to flood fill it, because obviously last time we flood filled it with O2. Though that probably is actually a good way to, if we need to control the temperature in it really quick. I mean, obviously the base right now is at, like, you know, 9.7 C, or, you know, varies a little bit, but right around there. It's obviously cooler in there, so if we're too hot in there, we could dump oxygen in there. The oxygen's obviously going to heat up, and as it pulls it through the system, it'll take out, you know, that'll take out some of the heat. So we're doing all right on... Were we at 2? Weren't we at 4? Well, we did pump more in anyway. Is that the plants actually already generating oxygen? Because we're getting some from somewhere, and as far as I know, that's the only one that's inputting into the system right now. And we have nothing outputting. It must be, they must be producing a little bit already. I can't think of anywhere else it would be coming from. Huh. Alright. 5:30, and obviously we have no CO2. We do have some in our... And we got an autosave going on. We do got some in our waste tank, so we can go ahead and just dump that in the system. Yeah, unfortunately, I wasted a ton of CO2 earlier when I forgot that I hadn't finished the floor in the greenhouse. Not the most brilliant idea I had of trying to pressurize the... Yeah, that must be working, because I'm getting airflow coming through this doorway. You see it pulling me backwards? So that's it pulling, that filtration system pulling air in from that side. It is working though, I guess. I can't say that it's actually dropped anything yet, but who knows? It's such a small amount. I mean, obviously it's trace amounts, so it's not going to bother us. But it seems to be working, I guess. All right, well, I think that is it for this episode. You know, we've got this kind of fixed, so it's working now. Is kind of a transition room between the greenhouse and the main base. We've got the filtration seems to be working, I guess. I mean, it's definitely getting airflow, so it should be working. There's no reason it shouldn't be. I mean, it's definitely outputting air and intaking air. So, and it should be dumping through the system anything it pulls out. I think it's just maybe oh, come on, that airflow through there. I think it's just a matter of there's only one, so it might be worth it to run a couple more intake vents off. I mean, they're passive, so it's only going to let it pull through as much as it can, and maybe venting it out into different areas. So maybe what we do is when we change these oxygen outputs and intakes, when we revamp those, maybe we will just limit it to like one oxygen output for up here, one for down below, obviously because down below is taking forever to fill up. And then we'll just do like one intake up here, one intake down there for when we depressurize the base. And maybe we'll just change the rest of them to passive vents that's tied into this filtration system. And then that way it should, it can pull in from multiple rooms and vent out maybe to multiple rooms. Or maybe we'll just, actually wouldn't mind running the outputs on the ceiling. That way any airflow outputs, it's going to be pushing down, and because it's kind of blowing me around through the doorways and stuff right now, especially when I come through this one. So that might be worth looking into. Yeah, maybe that's what we'll focus on the next one. And the fabricator. I'm definitely at the beginning of the next episode get the fabricator hooked up. I keep saying I'm going to do it. I keep just not doing it, and there's times when it would have come in handy, just so that I can set a queue, walk away, and not have to worry about it. Printing out 1,000 of something. But yeah, all right. Well, we're at almost 2 hours, so I guess we will call that good for this episode. And then we'll work on, well, I'm going to let the base idle and see if there's any drop in the pollution, to see if that filter's working. And I will probably smelt some resources, maybe do a little bit of mining, though we're pretty good for resources, but I do need to make some more steel, and I think I need to make a little bit more iron as well. So I might do a quick little mining run, gather some probably iron, and smelt some steel and whatnot. And then before the next episode. And then I'm just going to idle in here for a little while and let that run to see what happens with the filtration. But again, I think that it might just be that since we've got 1 point and it's such a minute amount that it's either going to take it a really long time, or it's just not going to get the very, very small trace amounts out. And then next episode, I think we're going to look at doing the oxygen nitrogen system, getting the mix into that for the supply, and then we can change our oxygen, our input vents and our output vents for pressurizing the base at the same time, and have them tied into that oxygen nitrogen input output system, and not basically just the straight oxygen system, because we'll mix it before all the vents, and then have it run at the mixture ratio through the whole vent system. And I guess need to look into the the cooling setups and how those exactly work a little bit better, since it seems I may have been doing something wrong on that. But I'll go double check before I mess with those any further. But I think most of the episode will probably be working on revamping this and doing the oxygen nitrogen system. And then we get that set up. We'll get it automated for pressure at the same time. And then maybe after that we'll work on the cooling and heating and then get that automated. The heating system's definitely all in. Cooling we might need to obviously do some work on. And I am going to come in here and check the plants because I'm not seeing any. So I'm hoping they all didn't die for some apparent reason. We're going to pull some of this out just so we don't completely flood the room. Yeah, I'd rather not end the episode on the note of all the plants have died. Okay, that's a little high, but pretty close. Yeah, it looks like they all died. What did our temperature get to? I don't know. Alright, anyway, we'll have to look at that. Maybe we do have to run the regular lights for when the sun's down. I would assume they could make it through a night without sunlight. I mean, obviously they're getting sunlight, so... yeah, alright, well... Our first batch of plants obviously didn't do that great. We'll need to make up a table so we can, I believe, make some more seedlings. At least I hope we can use the chemistry table to make more seedlings. Otherwise, I doubt I'm going to find any seeds on the moon. Alright, so there's something else to look into before the next episode. And I guess we will end the episode on that sad note that we've now just, somehow killed off all the plants. I guess the next time I plant them, I'm going to have to stay in there and watch them for the first night or so. Yeah. But anyway, well, it's part of the fun is figuring everything out. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. This is Mickey D, and I will see you in episode 34. All right. Have a good night.